All right. Hello, everyone. I got a pretty big update for you all. On June 1st, we released a pretty big, significant upgrade to the TradersPost system. And I just wanted to make a quick video and talk through some of the things that we enhanced and some of the changes that we made. So, the first item on the list is that we officially released the Kraken crypto exchange integration. That integration is in beta, and we'll continue to monitor and test it over the next couple of weeks before we remove it out of beta. We also released our support for Alpaca Options in beta. They just released support for that in their API, and it's really exciting. It was super easy to work with, and we're really excited as Alpaca continues to increase their functionality. We made a change so that by default, all signal settings will be used, and that setting will be enabled by default. Previously, you had to explicitly enable that every single time, but now it'll be enabled by default. And if you don't want to use the signal settings, you'll have to disable that. This is something that's been requested a lot. You now have the ability to control the order type from the webhook, and all of the order types that we've supported before are supported from the webhook. We have market, limit, stop, and trailing stop. And if you look at the documentation below, you'll see examples for each of them. Really easy to use. It gives you flexibility to control different order types for different types of trading strategies. And the trailing stop one is definitely cool. If you're already in a position, you can use that to add a trailing stop to the position after you're already in it, or you can also use the trailing stop orders for entries as well. We added the ability to control the dynamic quantity calculation from the webhook. These settings were available from the strategy subscription previously, but now you have the ability to control that from the webhook. So the simplest, of course, is just a static fixed quantity, or if you want to dynamically calculate a quantity based off of a dollar amount. So in this example, we say we want to buy $10,000 worth of Apple. Well, if Apple was currently trading at $100, then we would calculate a quantity of 100. And then we have the risk dollar amount, which is a very useful strategy. So we can say, if we only want to lose $100, then we can dynamically calculate that quantity based off of the entry price and the stop loss price. So in this example, we say we want to enter at 180 and we want to stop loss at 170. So that means if we were to get stopped out, we would lose $10 per share, which means it would calculate a quantity of 10. And if you want to dynamically calculate a dollar amount from your total portfolio equity, you can do that with the percent of equity type. So in this example, say we have a $100,000 account, we want to use 10% of our account, and 10% of $100,000 is 10,000. So it'll calculate a quantity of 100. If you want to exit a percent of your position, you can do that. So if I currently had 100 shares of Apple and I say I want to exit 50% of that position, then it would calculate a quantity of 50. So we also added the ability to control the option chain scanning from the webhook. Again, these are settings that were previously only available in the strategy subscription settings, but now you can control those settings directly from the webhook. You also now have the ability to send a specific options contract to trade instead of using the option chain scanning. So if you pick your contract that you want to trade for that day ahead of time, you don't have to use the option chain scanning, and you can basically hard code the contract in the JSON, and we won't scan the option chain and we'll just execute the trade with that contract. So you have the ability to specify it in the format, like the string format in the ticker field, or if you wanted to specify the values individually, you could say, I want to buy a SPY contract. I want the expiration of this. I want it to be a call or a put, and then you can specify the strike price. Just depends on how your system is built and whether you want to specify that information individually or in the symbol format. We also added the ability to control the order type and time in force from the strategy subscription settings, in addition to controlling those values from the webhook. We also added something so that you can visually see the contract that was selected when you utilize the option chain scanning functionality. That's just useful to verify and visually see that, okay, if I wanted the second in the money contract, call contract, it'll visually show and highlight the contract that was selected. You can also now send prices for limit orders for options trades. You previously didn't have this ability, and any prices in the signal were ignored, and it would always use the current market price as the limit price. But now you have the ability to control that from the webhook, just like you can with stocks, futures, and crypto. You also have the ability now to control which price from the quote gets used when executing a trade. By default, it will still use the bid-ask midpoint price. But if you wanted it to use a different price, you could do that. For example, if you wanted to use the ask for buys and bid for sells, you could configure that, and that gives you more flexibility to control the execution of your trades. We added a new field to the JSON called signal price, and that's used in some cases by brokers like TradeView that don't have the ability to fetch quotes, and will basically use that price instead of the quote in those cases. And basically, the signal price is intended to be whatever the current market price was at the time the signal was generated. This one was something that gets requested a lot, but we added the ability to have trailing stops within TradeView. Again, because TradeView doesn't support fetching quotes, you have to send a signal price so that we can use that price as the starting point to calculate your trailing stop price. We added a global setting called Use Signal Settings that basically opts into all signal settings. And as I mentioned previously, that setting is now enabled by default. And then finally, we renamed Trail Price to Trail Amount to make the naming more consistent. We'll still support Trail Price. It's backwards compatible, so you don't have to worry about that. But going forward, we recommend using Trail Amount. All right, well, so this is a big release. We're really excited about all these things that we've added. These are commonly requested features and enhancements, and we're excited to keep building and looking forward to speaking with you all in the future. Thank you.